Go. All right. How's everybody doing today? I'm seeing new faces, which is great. I think there's people that I haven't had the opportunity to meet.
Doing great,
What's that?
doing great, blessed and highly favored.
Love to hear that. So, if we can, I'd love it if we can, before we get, as we get started here, everybody kind of go around the room, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, what you do. Um, that's why I was hoping if you can turn your camera on, so we can kind of all see each other, that would be fantastic. Brett, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself to the group here.
Hi, my name is Brett Thomas. I am the founder of Rhino Web Studios, and recently, a few years ago, we started our second company, Jambalaya Marketing. If you Google New Orleans web design, we're number one. We are the top, and I believe now the oldest web design company in the New Orleans area, and we have offices and salespeople all over the country now.
Right on. It's great. Yeah, we've done some work with Brett, and we sent Brett business his way. He sent Brett he sent business our way. So yeah, if you guys are in the New Orleans, actually, not even if you're just in New Orleans, if you're anywhere and you need web design help,
Yeah.
hit up Brett. Jeff, introduce yourself to us. Let us know what you do.
All right, guys. Well, I'm brand new here, but my name is Jeff Momus, and I am from New Orleans, now living in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I am in the process of trying to put together a nonprofit to create a more symbiotic, culture-focused community here in Wilmington. Very much focusing on the lessons that Jazz Fest has taught over its many years.
Cool. Great. That sounds exciting. We'll get into that. I want to hear more about that for sure. Mason.
Hey everyone. I'd like to say good morning because this is where I
Yeah,
am.
you're in
I know it's good
California.
afternoon for you guys. It's nice and raining today out here. Our first significant rain. So, anyways, my name is Mason Roshnian. I am a personal injury attorney. Been doing this for 27 years. My firm is called the Mason Law Firm. We are in Santa Clarita, which is about 20 miles north of downtown LA. If you know where Magic Mountain is, I'm right across from it.
Right
So,
on.
thank you.
Yes, Mason's been with us for a bit, and we're helping Mason with his podcast as well. And it's
Yeah, Armando was the guest
Estoy en un
last week
master,
too.
estoy en un mastermind, pero ¿seguro? Ok, está bien.
Stephen, if you can mute yourself before if you're not talking on the meeting here, that'd be great. Anna, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, I'm Anna. I am a producer, podcast host, consultant, wear many hats for Ludic
Yes.
Entertainment. So, yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being
Anna's been
here.
working with us for a few weeks now, so love having
Yeah.
Anna on the team. Mimi, I don't believe we've met before. Introduce yourself to me. Let me know. Maybe we have, and if we have, I apologize for not remembering.
No, hello everybody. I'm Mimi. This is actually my first meeting.
Okay.
So I just met Anna last week.
Oh, cool.
So I'm new here. Again, I'm Mimi and I do a lot of different things. So podcasting, filmmaker, writer. Then I work at a media company where we focus on photos and videography.
Nice. Very cool. Shannon.
Hi, hi. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm now in Chicago. I'm an actor, teacher, director, and I'm potential podcast host.
There you go. That's what it's all about. Very cool. Who did I miss? Let's see. Becky's with us. I know Becky now because we've done several weeks on the mastermind here. Becky, are you able to talk? Maybe she's not. Um, Dennis Thomas, I don't think I know you. Are you able to speak as well? If not, we'll move on. No worries. Um, there's Dennis. Hey, Dennis, how you doing, man? You're muted. We can't hear you. Okay. Well, we'll let Dennis kind of listen in. So we'll kind of forego with any more introductions. Let's get into what we're going to talk about this week. So those of you who are new, this is the Content to Clients Mastermind. What we're talking about on here every week is the strategy behind starting a podcast, how it can grow your business, how it can grow your referral network, how it can build your brand. It can do all of those things. It can make you money. This is kind of the way to monetize your podcast that people don't necessarily think about. When people think about monetizing a podcast, they think about selling ads or getting sponsorships, and that's certainly something you can do. But what we're focused on is using your podcast to build your business in a different way. And that the people that you invite in your podcast are the people that you want to work with, or people that can bring you business. That's really the genesis of our methodology behind podcasting, and it works. It works gangbusters. It works really really well. We've covered a lot in here as far as how to get your podcast off the ground, how to find your guests, how to invite them to your show. And I got to give kudos to Mason because I know his podcast is off the ground and he's got things rolling with it. Brett, I know, has recorded a few episodes of his show as well. Brett, how's that going for you, buddy? Have you recorded any more? I know you said you had a couple that were in the can. Have you done any more since then?
I've done two, but now I want to readjust and rebrand. I I have a new idea for what I want to call it. Um, do good, sell lots is what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to change it to feel becomes real.
Tell me why you're thinking you want to change it.
Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Something we
What you feel becomes real is the see, anybody can do good, sell lots, whatever, but it really doesn't change your happiness. You can do good work. So the world is full of unhappy people that do good works.
okay.
So I'm changing my focus to what you feel becomes real. And that's what the message that I'm going to try to get across and have people on my podcast, successful business owners on my podcast, to demonstrate that it's not success that makes you happy, it's happiness that creates success. What you feel first becomes real.
Okay.
So if you're feeling depressed and distorted and angry and frustrated all the time, that's what your reality is going to be. And that's what the podcast is going to be about.
Gotcha. Okay. That's cool. So I'm going to call you out a little bit. Because this is something that we talk about a lot is getting into that editing mode too early where you're self-editing before
Mhm.
you're doing. And kudos to you. You did record a couple episodes, which is great. But see, now what you're doing is you're editing. You haven't put those episodes out, right? Are they out? Did
No,
you
no,
live
no,
stream
no. I
them?
haven't even branded it yet. I was something I was
Okay.
doing today.
So, but what you're doing is, and this is a trap that we fall into a lot. All of us can fall into this trap is you're thinking like, okay, well, I did these episodes. I don't know if I really like them. So I need to stop and start over. And so you're stopping and starting over before you're really fully started. You started to get started. You recorded a couple episodes, but you didn't put them out. You
I
didn't
did
put
put
them
them
out
out.
there. You did put
They're
them
out.
out there. Okay.
Yeah,
So you have two episodes of a podcast that's branded, has the name, and now
do
you
good
want to
sellouts. Yeah.
and now you want to change it two episodes in. My
I'd rather
recommend
change it 2 episodes in than 15 episodes in.
Well, if you're going to change it, that's cool. Just don't let that stop you for too long. Because the key here with the podcasting is you have to keep going. You have to keep recording, and you got to record often. And you got to invite as many people to your pod as you possibly can that are in your network. And and get them on the show. So we can get into that self-editing mode where we're kind of overthinking things, and we gotta avoid that if possible, and just kind of keep moving forward. So if you're gonna rebrand, that's cool, do it, but do it quick, and start recording again. Don't wait too long, because the longer you think about it, the longer you wait, the less likely you'll be to start again. Does that make sense, Brett?
Uh-huh.
So that's just something I would really encourage. And this goes for everybody. I know I'm calling you out, Brett, but this is a trap that's like we've all fallen into several times. So I appreciate you sharing that with us and letting us know kind of where you're going with that. Just my message to you though is if you're going to do it, pull the trigger and just move, and keep moving with it. So that's part of what we get into here, guys. Those of you who are new is kind of covering, that part of the aspect of podcasting. Becky's someone who's been doing podcasting for a minute now and has done several episodes. And I know from what I've heard, you've got a crazy lineup of people just lining up to come on the pod, like more than
I
you
know.
can handle.
I'm sorry I was late because I was on a podcast and she was like, I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go.
It's okay. You're recording your show.
I just booked 15 people for my, a lot of them in the divorce attorneys. So they're booked. And then I've got 12 episodes recorded. We're going to launch here in the next week or two.
That's
So
fantastic.
we're done branding.
So you got 12,
yep,
you got 12 in the
good.
can, 12 that are booked and ready to go.
12 in the can. And I've got another 15 that are booked.
And you're going to release weekly?
next
Are you going to do once a week, one episode a week?
So I think I'm just going to start doing lives from this point on, and then I'll drip the other ones because I'm just tired. That's one of the things that I know you guys talk about that, but is that when you're live, there's not a lot of production you have to do, right? You still have the show notes and all that stuff, but it's done. I mean, it's out there. Then I've got another person to do the audio, but I think the audio I'm going to release a little bit later. I think that's a second.
That's what we do. We typically go about a week after the live stream comes out. We'll put the audio version out. And what the beauty of that, Becky, and this applies to everybody, is that audio coming out a week later, it's just another follow-up you have with those people. You get to give them something again. So, and you're live streaming to YouTube too, are you not, Becky? When you do live stream,
yeah. And the cool thing, I was just telling this lady too about StreamYard, because StreamYard didn't used to do this, by the way. But StreamYard actually allows them to put on their social media and go live on all their social media links. And so you never have to worry about can you make sure you post it? Nah, just freaking click the button.
Connects it to everywhere.
And you're live.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what I was going to tell you is when you do start live streaming with the YouTube, once the show is done, you have a YouTube video. And what we do on our end is within 24 hours of that show being recorded on live stream, I got an email going out to those guests saying, hey, you were so good on the show. Here's a link to the episode. You can use it however you want. So you give them that YouTube link and they've got the full episode, and it comes within 24 hours. So that's just another one of those. And we've talked a lot about the follow-up after the podcast, after you record with these people, the real magic happens after the show. Where you've got all these opportunities to follow up with them and to give them things and to set up calls and have follow up after the fact to build out those relationships.
So Will, can I say something on that very point right
Go
there?
For it.
My whole business changed. The reason why last week when we came on this, when I was doing the pre-call and then the episode and then nope.
Yep.
You're a divorce attorney. Come on my show. There's the link. And that's how I got so many people this last week, because I'm not doing pre-calls anymore. If I like them enough, then I'm going to say, hey, let's book an appointment. Let's meet next week.
100%.
And that shifted everything for me. So
that's so good to hear. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, the pre-interview can A, they might not show up for it. B, you're requiring more work on their part. They have to show up to another meeting before they even do the podcast.
No.
Just treat that podcast as your discovery call. That's your meet where you get to learn about them. And like you said, Becky, you may get done with that podcast and be like, this person sucks. And you don't have to set up a follow-up call with them. But you still have content, which is great. That's what you want out of this. But, if it was a good conversation and you guys really gelled, and are you making the ask as soon as the podcast is over, you stop recording and you get on with them and say, hey, Anna, that was great. I'd really love to continue this conversation. Can we set up another time to continue talking? Is that what you're doing, or how is that working for you?
Well, no, this is just last week. I booked 15 people on my thing just from that little change. So I haven't done it yet. My first episode's next week.
Got it.
So I will let you know. But no, I have no problem, because I tell them, look, you're going to mess up my recording if you jump off. You have to stay.
Well, so here's the thing. With the live stream, that's not an issue anymore.
Well, that's okay. I'll tell them that.
Well, what I do is I usually take 2 to 3 minutes before we're going to start going live, because you can pop on with your guests before you go live and you have a chance to talk to them. It's just like a Zoom call, and just kind of give them an overview of hey, I want to make sure on my background I have on you is correct. Give them a couple of points to make sure is correct. You work here. This is what you do. This is how long you've been doing. Just kind of go over a couple of facts with them. Yeah. Let them know it's going to be a very casual conversation. And then I tell them, when we're done with the podcast, if you can hang out for just a couple of minutes, I just want to make sure I've got all your contact information correct. That's all I tell them. So then you're done recording, then they can then you pop back in. You can make sure that contact information is correct. And then the sentence I give them is, "Hey, I want to know how I can help you. Who can I connect you with? Can we set up a call to kind of see who I can get you in front of and who you might be able to recommend for my show?" And then if they say yes, and more times than not they do, Anna can attest to this. Then what I do is say, well, let's look at our calendars right now and get it scheduled right then after the podcast is over. Schedule that next call before you end the podcast call with them. So after you've stopped recording, go ahead and try to hit them for a meeting. But you want to be nice about it, and the way I phrase it is, I want to help you. And that gives you, and then when you get into that meeting, come in with a couple of names that you can share with them that they need to be connected with, whether it's someone who has a podcast that maybe they want to be a guest on, or just someone who you think could help them in their business. And then they'll do the same for you. And then every time I do that, I wrap that up with, okay, so I also want to let you know what we do and see if it's something that maybe could help your business out. And then I just roll into a real quick 5-minute kind of sales pitch. It's not a heavy pitch, but I just let them know what our business is and what we do. And then offer to send them some information on how we help people out. And they, again, 99% of the
So
time.
you would talk to them about the business at the end of the call and at the end of the podcast.
No, I would talk to them on that call you're going to schedule.
Follow up. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
yeah, what you don't want to do is you don't want to, I mean, occasionally it will happen where the guest will say, just tell me I want to know what you guys do. Tell me more about what you guys are doing. And you have that opportunity, but for the most part, what you don't want to do when you're wrapping up your podcast is turn it into a sales call. Then you want to schedule that after the fact, because you don't want the podcast to be tied to the sales pitch. They need to be two separate things. One leads to the next thing, but it needs to just be, it's still that giver. You've given them a platform, you've given them time. And then the next call, you're going to give them some referrals. You're going to give them some contacts that they can connect with. They will probably give you a couple as well, who you can then invite on your podcast, and the cycle continues. So that's really the method behind this. And Jeff, talking about nonprofit world, this can work the same for you. You need people to join a nonprofit. You need people to donate to your nonprofit. You need to be connecting with your community in Wilmington there. So you got to kind of figure out who are the connectors that I need to be in touch with, who are going to connect me with other people in this community, and who are going to help me kind of get this nonprofit moving and get the right people involved with it. That's who you need to have on your podcast. And then you build those calls after the fact to further that relationship. It's all about relationship building. That's what all this is. It's building relationships. And if you have a chance to pitch somebody on your offer and what you have to help people with, that opportunity is built in after the fact. Mason, for you, it's a little different because you're not having people who've been hit by a truck on your podcast, but you want to have attorneys on your podcast that don't do what you do. So when they have clients who do get hurt, they refer those cases to you. If you also want to connect with your local community, business owners, business leaders, civic leaders, those people you want to have on your podcast. You want to be ingratiated to your community, Mason, as an attorney. So you want to have, someone who's opened a small business in your town you want to give them a platform, give them a chance to promote what they're doing, and they're going to be ingratiated to you. And inevitably, they're going to know someone who gets hurt. And if you've fostered that relationship with them, they're going to refer those cases to you. And I know Armando's been talking to you about that as well, but that's definitely something that you want to do. Guillaume, tell us about yourself real quick and what you got going on. How'd you hear about the Mastermind?
It's funny, you pronounce the name perfectly, Will.
I'm a cultured guy,
French
man.
classes?
No, I'm not. No, I know Guillaume isn't that French for William? So,
yeah, that is exactly it.
There you go. That's why I know.
Nailed it. Thanks for having me, Will. And hello, everybody. So I was interviewed on Armando's show, Spaghetti on the Wall, a few months ago. He told me I could join this mastermind. I was in Europe back then. It was way too late for me, but I just arrived in the US, and I was like, cool, I'll go and have a look. I have a marketing agency, and we use our podcast to generate leads as well. We
Outstanding.
recently attended the acquisition.com workshop with Alex Hormozy. I don't know if that rings a bell. And
Mm-hmm.
it was basically, you're doing great. You need to do 10 times more. Funny enough, he had the Jim Lord podcast that I didn't know about, where he was interviewing, not him specifically, but his team, 6 people a day, transform this into sales calls. And I was like, I'm just out of my depth here. I need to do much more of
Yep.
what is already working. So I just
100%.
joined to get a bit of the best practices. What you just walk Becky through is amazing. That's kind of the questions I still had. Like, how do you pre-brief? Do you always go live? And then what's the sequence after the podcast interview? Do you
So
try to
we
send them
we
there?
always go live, and I'm glad you
Okay.
mentioned doing multiple in a day. And Becky, I don't know if you're prepared to do this yet. It may be something a spot where you get to, but we currently, because Anna is hosting our podcast Partnership for Profit, I host our podcast Partnership for Profit. We
Yeah.
live stream that on our platforms, and then Armando has spaghetti on the wall. So we have two platforms, two podcasts. I'm sorry, that we are live streaming over the course of the week. We're doing between the three of us, we're doing about 15 podcasts a week right now, give or take. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less, but it's around 15 pods a week. So we are spending a lot of time on the podcasting, and we're live streaming that. And that's the beauty of the live stream, is you can record that many in a week because the production is all taken care of in StreamYard. You can put your intro video in there, you can put your overlay, your logo, all that's preloaded. So when you hit record, the show starts.
Yeah.
And also the beauty of that, I'll tell you, when you have a guest on your show and they come in, most of the time at this point, a lot of people you have on your show, it's either going to be their first podcast or maybe their second or the third. They haven't done a whole lot of them. And most of the ones that they've been on have probably been pretty shitty. They're probably pretty crappy podcasts. So if they come on and the production values are high, they're in StreamYard, there's an intro video with voiceover, and then it cuts to you guys and all the graphics are there already in place. The feeling they get is, whoa, I'm on a show. I'm not just on a Zoom call. This is a show. And so it's a super impressive thing. And then when you're done, the outro video plays, and then you got that opportunity for follow up. So you don't have to do a whole lot of editing. There's a little work that has to be done on the front end to get that intro video ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you guys some examples of the intro videos that we've done. If it's something you need help putting together, we can put an intro video together for you. You have to pay for those, but we can do that. We just need some footage from you guys, and we can cut together a really nice intro video that you can pop into your podcast. But that's a super effect. That's one of the benefits of live streaming is the show is done. You don't have to do a lot of editing. You can go in after the fact and you can cut clips from it to use on social for sure. That's something everyone should be doing, but you have it done and you can do it multiple times a week. Now, Guillaume, you were asking about the follow-up after the fact.
Yeah, so I have two main questions. Basically,
Mhm.
what's the sequencing? So you cut the live, right? You're still in the call with the person. I always say, hey, anyways, so I used to use Riverside, but StreamYard might be a bit better. So like I have no issue keeping the person in the call, having a quick debrief. But like what's the sequence to make sure that this converts into sales call, or at least the highest percentage possible of guests turn into sales
Yeah.
call?
So we again, like I said earlier, and I don't know if you popped on before I said this or not.
I'm not sorry.
It's cool. What we like to do is when the call is done, when the podcast is done, doing that little debrief at the end.
Yeah.
We ask every single person who comes on our podcast, hey, first of all, and this is something I wanted to get into today. We're big on the 5 love languages. And kind of incorporating it. 4 out of 5 that we use. We don't use physical touch, but the other 4 love languages, we like to use those in our follow-up. And Becky, I don't know what's going on in your background, but that was wild. There we go. We like to, words of affirmation are huge. So really build them up after in that debrief. Oh, Guillaume, you were amazing, man. You were so good on the podcast. Do you have a podcast? Yeah, I have a podcast. Oh, great. Do you have a podcast? No, I don't have a podcast. For us, asking that question, that's our business, is we are producing podcasts for people. So I get someone on who's really good. That's the first question I ask is, man, Steven, you were great. Do you have a podcast? No, I don't. You should really have a podcast for your business. And that kind of naturally leads it into. So I've built them up and let them know that they need to be doing this. And then, so taking that, my next thing is, all right, Guillaume, I want to know how I can help you out with what you guys have going on. I want to set up a call with you. There's some people I want to introduce you to, and there may even be some additional podcasts I can get you booked on. So we're giving. It's a big giving thing. We want to give. And then I follow it up with, And I'd love it if you have some people you could recommend to be a good guest on my show. And I don't want to have that conversation with them right then. I want to
Why
set
not?
up, well, I want to set up because what I like to do, we like to separate the sales call from the podcast.
Okay.
Sometimes, and I mentioned this before, sometimes the
Yeah, very
conversation will just
keen.
kind of progress where you are able to kind of get into that sales call, but I don't want them to associate and I don't want them to tell other people that I was on this podcast and it was cool, but it was really just they really just wanted to have a sales conversation with me. We really want to give them a platform and have that conversation with them. But what you wanted, so what I like to do is let's set up a time, Guillaume. Can we get on a call next week? I want to put together some names. I want to introduce you to some people. I want you to think about good people that would be a good fit for my pod. Let's get on a call and we can help each other out that way. And then I also want to share with you what we really do as a business when we have a little more time, when we're focused on that, because you've already given me 30 minutes of your time to be on this podcast. And if they say, yeah, let's do that, the next thing I do is say, well, let's look at our calendars and let's find the date that works best for both of us. Schedule it right then. And then you've got your next call booked, and that next call will inevitably turn into a sales call on that call because that's when you've let them know, I want to tell you what we do and how we're helping people.
Yeah.
That's your chance to kind of pitch them on your services and what you guys are doing. And if you have
Awesome.
you have a sales deck, that's your opportunity to show that to them on that call. But you want to go in initially on that second call, giving them names, connecting people,
Value first.
and then lead into how you can help them. And I don't say, I want to sell you something. I want to say, I want to show you how we help people like you out.
Yeah.
And then give them
Awesome.
the pitch and you can send them information after the fact. And then, from there, it's just, you got to close yourself. I can't teach you guys how to close. That's on everybody else because your business. But that's the follow up. We have several other follow ups that we do as well with these guys. I was telling Becky before, if you're going to live stream your podcast within 24 hours of that podcast being live streamed, you want to send them a thank you email with a link to that video on YouTube so they have access to the full episode. You want to leave them a Google review if their business is listed on Google My Business. You want to go in, you want to leave them a Google review. Here's the thing you got to do though. Leave that Google review, take a screenshot of it, crop out just your little box, send them an email and say, hey, Guillaume, I know Google reviews are super helpful. I've left you a 5-star Google review. Send them the screenshot of the review you left and then ask them to do the same for you. If you have a chance, would love for if you could do the same in kind. Leave us a Google review as well. Give them a link to your Google My Business page. Our Google reviews have tripled in the last 3 months with this tactic, and Google reviews are huge. So you don't get them if you don't make the ask. And these aren't clients. These are just people who had the experience of being on the podcast with us, and getting that and having it's an experience to come on our pod. We make it a real experience for them. So that's another follow-up that you have, leaving them a Google review.
Gold.
There's several, and I sent you guys some of these templates that have been on previous calls. Go ahead, Guillaume.
Just a quick question. So first of all, Will, this is gold. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Say you had to advise someone who is going to interview 6 people a day because the funnel works. What would be your recommendation to build a list of the right people? Because I guess you have momentum, Armando has momentum, so you might have people reaching out to you to be on the show. But if you don't have that,
who do you guys work with, Guillaume? What's your niche?
So typically coaches and consultants, B2B, and we work a bit with B2B SaaS companies as well, Series A, Series B, but we're going to focus on coaches and consultants.
So coaches and consultants.
Yeah.
That's your starting point. You just got to look them up. You got to find them and you got to invite them in mass. And you want to have them in your CRM, obviously whatever CRM you're using. And there's a lot of automations you can do to kind of set up the pre podcast stuff. Becky mentioned she was having pre-interview calls with her people beforehand, and now she's not doing that anymore. And that is the right way to go. You don't need to be doing pre-interview calls with them. You don't want to put a whole lot of work in their hands. What you want to do is basically do all the work for them and show them that you've done all this work. So all they have to do is click on a link the day of and show up. But you're prepping them along the way. So, hey, if I find somebody I want to reach out to that I think would be a good fit on the pod, or if I get somebody referred to me, we have an associate producer. Her name's Monique. She's our VA who books everybody who comes on our pod. So let's say Jeff was referred to me as a guest on our pod. from another guest. I let's say I had Mason on my podcast, and I have my second call with Mason, and Mason's like, "You really need to talk to Jeff. Jeff's going to be a great guest for your show. I'll connect you guys." He connects us. Then I contact Jeff and say, "Hey Jeff, great to contact you. I'm so glad Mason got us together. I want to get you on my podcast. I've copied our associate producer Monique here. She'll reach out to you to get you booked." And then Monique is my booker. She's taking care of scheduling everything. There's a series of prep emails that go out. That's all pre-done. My VA takes care of all of that. She puts it on the calendar. Anna does this. Anna doesn't do this. Anna's a host too. So she sees when she's got a podcast scheduled. Usually, and our VA also does a little chat GPT kung fu and, looks up the guest, figures out, we train our AIs what the show is, what our show is called, what our show is about. And then we tell them who the guest is, what they do. This is their website. I need a title for this show. I need a description for the show to use on YouTube and on social media. I need 8 questions that I can ask these people. And if you can script me out a little intro, that's even great. So you can have all that stuff done ahead of time. Typically for us, and we're doing multiple a day, morning of, I look at my calendar, I say, okay, I've got 3 podcasts today. That info gets popped in day of the podcast. I don't see it until about 30 minutes before the podcast is going to happen, but I've got it all laid out for me. And the reps help. The more you do this, the easier that where you can kind of pop in 30 minutes, 20 minutes before, do a quick overview, and then pop on and talk to your guests for the first time. You've got information in front of you, but really that conversation is going to be, I don't stick to that script a whole lot.
Yeah.
I've got that as a guidepost where if things get off track or if the guest doesn't give me very much, I can refer back to that document where there's questions and everything. But really, I'm asking, who are you? What do you do? How do you help people? Give me a story of how you help people, and how do people connect? How do people find you? Those are the main things you want to cover every time you do a podcast, regardless of what your show's called, regardless of the theme or the format or everything. When you're having guests on, if you're using this method, you want to give them those 5 questions. That's good for them. They want to get that information out to the people that they're talking to.
So tell me if you need to give more to other people. Huh? I don't want to take the whole speaking time here.
Go for it.
Do you treat, so I listened to a bunch of Gym Lords episodes, and it's basically a discovery call. It's like, hey, why did you start your gym? How many locations do you have? What's the difference between the two? How do you get people through the door? What's your seasonality? How do you acquire people? And so on and so forth. Would you just do that?
Yeah, that's what we do. What I find helps though is if you can sprinkle in a little bit of spontaneity in between, the guest is going to enjoy it a whole lot more, because those people when you ask those questions, every business owner answers those questions all day, every day, and they get so fucking tired of talking about it. So if you can find, and a lot of this comes in the bio, right? Where you read their bio ahead of time. That's where that 20 or 30 minutes ahead of time for me comes into play. I'm going to read that bio. I'm going to do a little digging on them. I'm going to find something. Oh, that's interesting. I'll give you an example. I had an immigration lawyer on my podcast a few months ago. And obviously immigration is a hot topic in the United States right now. So, I can get into current events with him for sure. But, we were covering all this stuff. How'd you get into immigration law? Why did you choose to be an immigration lawyer? How, what do people need to know? How do you help people? How do they find you? We were covering all that stuff. But I saw on his bio that he was an ordained minister. And I was like, well, that's interesting. My mother is an ordained minister. My mother went to seminary. So I grew up in that world and I know what that's like. And I bet he doesn't get asked about that very much. So we covered all that stuff. And I was like, okay, so let's shift gears here a little bit. I got a question for you. I was reading your bio and I see you're an ordained minister too. Do you have a congregation right now? Do you preach? Do you have a church? And he lit up and was like, oh shit, no one ever asked me that. This is great. And so again, that's just that zeroing in. And then he's going to really remember that conversation because of that. And he's really going to remember me because I did just a little bit of extra homework and really personalized it. He still got to do all of his promotional stuff and got to promote his firm and everything, but just that little bit makes a big difference. And you don't have to wear a white glove the whole time, but if you can put that white glove on for about a minute and a half and really give them that, it's so great. They love it so much. People really appreciate it. And that comes with the reps, that comes with the time. And that's what I was talking about at the top of this call, guys, is really getting into it and getting going and not stopping, because you're going to get good at that aspect of interviewing. And being an active listener, all that stuff comes with it. But yeah, if you
Love
can
it.
really personalize just one little bit, and it doesn't always happen on every call, in every podcast, there's that opportunity is not there. But if you find that there's something, and that's where you kind of approach it as a host. You have to really approach it as a host and be like, what interests me about this person? What do I really want to know more about? While factoring in, we call them the pastor questions. It's a book that Armando read. I can't remember what the book's called. I know he knows the name of the book and the author because he remembers every book and
Ken
author that
Edwards.
he's ever read. Who was it?
Ken Edwards or something like that.
Ken Edwards. Yeah. So pastor is what's the pastor, Anna? Do you remember what the letters stand for? I'll let you can.
So you're testing me right
Yeah,
now in
yeah.
front of everyone. Thanks so much. So the P stands for the people that you help, the problems that they have, their pain points. A is for amplify. So we want like to know what happens if they don't seek your help.
They don't address the
is-
problem. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So then S would be for like storytelling, case studies, things like tell me a story about
yeah.
Yep. Tell me a story about someone you helped. T is for transformation. What was the outcome of you assisting, helping them? O, so what am I on? P.
O is for offer.
O is for offer,
What is
not
your
always
offer?
So the
Yeah,
transition between like trying to like ask that question, like, what is your offer? A lot of times I find that it's already been answered in the
Yeah.
previous
Usually it is.
question.
Usually
Yes.
it is. And then R is for
I just went blank.
This is already very good.
So
Impressive.
so I've only done this like 10 times now.
It's okay.
So I know that we asked them like where they can be found.
Yeah, R is for
So-
reach. It's how do
Thank you.
how do people find you? How do people contact you? So that's
Yeah,
pastor,
reach. Thank you.
PASTOR. So problem, amplify. How do you amplify the problem? A story of someone who had that problem, the transformation they had in working with you, what the offer, basically how you help people, what your offer is, and then R is how they find you, how they reach you. So that the pastor questions are big. That's Guillaume talking about doing 6 of those a day. If you use that pastor format, you're going to be able to really kind of build off of that and put it together. And that's, again, that pastor format is something you can train your AI to generate for you every time you have a guest. Here's the guest, here's their bio, here's their website. Create me an outline for this podcast, incorporating the pastor questions that I've trained you on. And then it's going to build it all out for you. And you've got the shows ready to go.
Wait, so I missed. So problem, amplify, story. What's the T and O for?
Transformation.
Transformation. So that's the case study.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, the story is more of the case study. I guess
Okay.
the story and transformation really tie in together, right?
Okay.
Tell me a story of someone who had this problem and basically what happened when they worked with you. How did you transform them?
Yeah.
What happened? Basically, Mason has someone who got injured in a car accident. They couldn't walk. They couldn't go to work. They were worried about losing their house. They hired Mason as an attorney, and now they don't have to worry about it anymore. They got a good settlement. Everything's taken care of, and they're good to go. My
Nice.
offer is I work on a contingency fee basis. I don't get paid unless my clients get paid. That's how we work. How do you find me? Here's my website address. Here's my social media. So if I had Mason on the podcast, that's how I would cover those last few questions. And personal injury lawyers, the P is kind of covered in what they do, but depending on your business and what you do, it might be a little different. So that is that's the framework behind what we do. That's how it works for sure.
Awesome.
And I have found that my experience, we work with a lot of attorneys. That's really our niche, but we also work with coaches and consultants too, Guillaume, and the podcast is great for them. They love that format, and
Nice.
and continuing the conversation works really, really well. So yeah.
So you don't have to reveal the number of wheel if you don't want to, but like, what's your typical conversion on the podcast? So for 100 guests that you interview, how many actually take a sales call? how many end up working with you or referring you to a new client?
Out of 100, I would say we probably can get 80 sales calls.
Other than my swearing French privilege.
Conversions probably closer over the overall is probably closer to like 10%.
Okay.
Which
Of
is
the sales call or of the interviews?
off the sales. Well, so we're off the podcast, we're going to get about 80 to 90% to go to get to that next call.
Okay.
After the second call, we're going to probably close about 10 to 12% of those to turn into actual clients. So it's a numbers game. You know, the more episodes you can do, the more people you can get in contact with, the more opportunity you have to pitch what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're building content at the same time. Your content library is just growing and growing and growing. So
yeah.
Anybody else
Awesome.
want to? I don't know if anybody else has anything to add as
Yeah.
far as they're.
Thank you so much.
Been doing this for a minute.
Oh, I
Mason-
know that we have people that are still needing to like introduce themselves.
Oh, Jesse's here. I didn't realize Jesse popped in.
So, and then we have Shannon and then Steven as well. And Dennis, I'm not sure.
Shannon Donovan, are you with us? Are you here? Oh, you're right there. You already did introduce yourself. Sorry.
I'm sorry, wrong one. So,
Steven Saldana, are you still with us? Steven, you still here? You popped in for a minute. I saw your face for a second. Maybe he's got something else going on. Jeff, I want to tell me a little bit more about your nonprofit. Do you have is it started yet? Do you have a name?
No, this is at the very ground floor.
Okay.
And so really working to try to get this together. Just a little background for me. I grew up in New Orleans. I did probably 12, 15 years in radio down there. I was a co-host on a podcast for several years that Armando was a guest on a couple of times, in fact.
Okay.
And after Hurricane Ida, I relocated to Wilmington to accept a job with a company that I was a customer for. And so it was all sales driven, and I've been in sales for a long time, but I'm at the point in my life that I'm ready to start chasing what I'm passionate about.
Great.
And so I discovered that here in North Carolina, where there were so many different practices. There isn't the collaboration in the business community. There isn't collaboration in the arts communities. And it led me down a path to go, there's something that brought me here. And after diving into it, realizing that what New Orleans does is really special. And there are some real lessons that we can really bring to other parts of the country, spotlight places that have a lot of healing still to do, and have some community building that comes from it. And so ultimately, the idea is to take the best example I have, this community that I've now lived in for 3 years, that has amazing musicians. It's got a history that is far richer than I would have ever imagined before coming here. And seeing those really strange connections that exist that make me understand what really connects us is far stronger than what tears us apart. And I think that that's really what the goal is. So I do have some experience in podcasting. I was part of a network, so I don't have a lot of experience in actually putting it together and sending it out. I did produce a lot in radio, so I'm comfortable with either a live stream or a pre-recorded format. And so, I'm at the ground level, and the goal here that I think Armando really kind of shined the light on was, I'm not sure how to start the conversation with people, how to really build the groundswell that's required in order to get something like that going. And I think the podcast was really the right idea once I was able to view it from your lens.
Yeah. So basically you want to start a nonprofit with a goal of community building in the arts. Is that kind of that's in a nutshell?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. So start a podcast, start inviting musicians onto the podcast, start inviting venue owners onto the podcast. People that own local music venues, whether it's a bar or whether it's a concert hall or whatever it might be. And then you can connect them with musicians, connect musicians with those people who have those venues, and you can be the genesis to start to kind of reconnect this network that you say is already there, but just needs. It sounds like it just needs some glue. That's your podcast can kind of serve as that glue. Have you thought about a name for your show? Have you thought about anything like that?
Uh,
Or a name for your
I
nonprofit?
think
Does your
it's
nonprofit have a name yet?
not quite yet.
Okay.
But I think I'm starting to hone in on it.
Okay.
Trying to really um, encapsulate it so that it becomes a nonprofit that really helps nonprofits and the business community all work together. I mean, that's really when you look at the model of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, the genius of it is that it was able to bring the business community together, small businesses, large businesses who would sponsor the events, and and then it created it assisted all the other nonprofits in the arts to help kind of rotate around each other, be able to be a funding source so that a smaller venue can bring in a band that maybe they can't afford, to be able to help one of the other nonprofits put together the marketing program for an inclusive show. All of those pieces that the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation did in the New Orleans area. There's almost a roadmap there that I think the timing is right for.
So, yeah, man, I think a podcast would be a great way to build that out. You just have to, you gotta go. You just you gotta start it. You gotta come up with a name, and you can kind of start connecting people there, and the nonprofit can kind of come as that's happening. But don't let that hold you back from starting out that podcast and starting to make those connections and to bringing those people together. And then you're going to get known in your community pretty quickly as a connector. Oh yeah, Jeff connected us. And then when that nonprofit's ready to go, if you're associated with that, you're the connector who's helping artists out and who's helping venue owners out, and and getting local businesses involved for sponsorship, like you said. All that stuff will come, and you can use the podcast as the genesis for all that.
Yeah, and
So
that really became the goal because I tried to figure out how do you get from point A to point B when nobody really knows who you are, and that really kind of shined the light. Was I think the first step in getting into the goal is to do what I know best, and that's get people together and just on a small scale start talking. And I've made some connections here, which is great because I kind of have a ready to go list of people to invite to participate.
there you go.
So yeah, it's ready to rock.
You just got to start. You got to start for sure. Guillaume, you guys have a podcast. What's it called?
So, Corporate Treasury 101, which is our very first podcast, and the second one we are kind of walking in the weeds of renaming it right now to focus
Say,
more on coaches and consultants.
say the name again. What was it? Something 101?
Corporate Treasury 101.
Corporate Treasury?
Yeah. So the reason we are doing all this is because I'm an ex-PwC consultant.
Okay.
And we launched a podcast with my co-founder Hussam just to have fun talking about something. Most people were going to parties during COVID. We started a podcast about finance. We're the cool kids. And it started bringing deals for PwC.
Okay.
However, and we're talking multi six figures deals. And my bonus was the best of the junior consultants, but still very small compared to a 250K deal. So I was like, wait a second, we are doing this. It brings deals to PwC. How about we do this for ourselves? So that's how we ended there.
Very cool. And you're wanting to focus on coaches and consultants, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be the shift. Yeah.
Okay. I got some people I want to get you in front of.
Now we're talking.
For sure. And Becky, we've got a new client. Well, she's been a client for a minute, but she's been very hesitant to record content. But she's a family lawyer who's based in New Orleans, but she practices in California too. And I want to introduce you to her. Her name is Eileen Atchikalan. So Becky, I want to introduce you to her. I think that she'd be a good connect for you as well. That's part of what we want to do here, guys, on this is, and I want to take this last couple of minutes. That's why I wanted everybody to kind of introduce themselves and talk about what they had going on and where they are. Stephen, real quick, tell me where you are and what you have going on real quick.
How you doing, Will? I believe we met in that premiere with Armando. I think you were one of the actors.
Oh, you
So
came to the Life on Bourbon premiere.
yeah,
Cool, cool,
I was
cool.
there. I was there. So it was a good time. I had a good time with that. And so real quick, I'm Steven, the founder of White Husky Media. So basically, the main thing we do right now is a lot of stuff with AI dubbing voices from English to Spanish.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot of that. Amazon is doing some testing, but we're actually doing it for ready for like ministers and shows. Like if you have a podcast too, we could put it in Spanish and all
Okay.
that stuff. So we're doing that effectively. We could do it with your own voice and all that. And I have a background in film and video production, so that was kind of awesome to be there that day. I haven't been in a premiere in a minute, so I went to film school in Phoenix, Arizona, and I shown some commercials for Telemundo and like that. So,
Okay.
but it's being awesome. And the one thing I was listening to Jeff, the one thing that I don't have a problem with, I could get people's numbers. I could get them, cold text them, cold call them. I actually have a few leads for a few people that I want to pass to Armando. You were talking earlier about an immigration lawyer. I had one from Baton Rouge. I
Okay.
had his personal number, his personal email, but he doesn't see the value.
In
So
podcasting?
he doesn't see the value on what I could do for him.
Okay.
Which is so they translated. Make the story short, they translated the stuff that he has with Google, and I have a team that does the proofing. You know, so why I'm saying this is that he has 6 billboards coming back from Houston, but then he doesn't see the value, and maybe because he doesn't know me well, he doesn't know what we do, but I know that there's something really special there. You know.
Do you have any
So
case studies that you could share with him where other people have gotten value out of what you guys are doing?
yeah, absolutely. I
You
could
got to
do that.
share.
It's just matter of
You got to share
I
your
think
work. You got to show your
yeah,
work.
yeah. It's just matter of showing his attention. I think I have a brief conversation with Armando. He said something like, "Don't worry about it. I can handle those guys." So that's what I do all
Yeah,
day. So I was like, man, I'm done with him. I'm passing it to you. I'm
yeah,
passing it to
we get them
you.
on book
And
on the podcast. That's what I want to kind of finish up here with today, guys. Is I want having everyone kind of introduce themselves and what they have going on. And I know Mimi and Shannon, you guys are not podcasting as of right now, and you might. I think maybe Anna had talked to you guys maybe about doing some stuff with us. We'll talk more, but um, what we want to do, part of what we want to do here when we're on these calls, is we want to think about how we can help each other out too, right? Like I was saying, I've got some people I want to introduce Guillaume to. I got some people that I want to get Becky in front of and get on her podcast. Mason, there's some pods I want to get you booked on. So what we want to do here, and we don't have to do it on the call, but I want you guys to be thinking about everyone that's here and think about your network and who's in your network that might be able to help somebody else that's here on this call out. Um, that's a big part of what we're doing here in this mastermind. There's a community aspect of this. So we want to connect people with other people. That's a huge part of the whole methodology behind our podcasting system is connecting is the connecting aspect. So, like I said, with Becky and Guillaume and Mason, you all have podcasts. I've got people that I want to get you in front of that can be on your podcast and other podcasts that you should be on. Becky, are you doing other pods as a guest?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
I'm doing both my own and other people's podcasts as well.
Good.
I'm actually going to be one on in about an hour.
Cool. I'm doing one in about an hour as well. I've got a partnership for profit in about an hour. So, but yeah. And Mason, there's some pods I want to get you booked on, with some people that are in the legal world, that are just good connectors as well. And Guillaume, I got some people for you as well. Jeff, I don't know anybody in North Carolina in the music world, but let's keep coming here and let's keep hashing out the idea and what you're doing, and then that's part of what we want to do with this. Steven, you should have a podcast, for sure. And Shannon, you say you're a teacher. I know you're an actor, but you teach acting.
Yeah.
Where are you? Where are you located?
Chicago.
You're in Chicago. Okay. I mean, do you have classes? You have acting classes, or what do you? Okay. How are you marketing those classes out right now? What are you doing to get the word out? Say that again.
But I'm working through the school
Oh, which school?
the University of Champaign.
Oh, do you teach at the school?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, cool. Okay. So you teach theater, you just teach acting. What do you do
acting
there?
like the theater 101 that's like online.
Okay. Cool. My
Yeah.
wife's a theater teacher too. She's a professor. She's a theater professor. So that's how we
Where?
met. We're in the Atlanta area. She's at a small liberal arts school just northwest of Atlanta, but she runs the theater department there. So, um, love talking to theater professors. It's always warms my heart. I love theater professors. Married one. So, very cool. So okay, so you're teaching there, and then you act as well. Um, okay, cool. I'm trying
Question
to
for
think.
Shannon. Can I ask a question? Do you
Yeah,
ever teach attorneys for acting or no?
No.
we do that a
Okay.
lot. Like the coaching aspect, on camera
That's, I
coaching
was going to say,
for
that's a
attorneys
niche.
is a huge
Yep.
thing. Because
Litigators.
some of them are better than others at being comfortable on camera and getting out of their shell. That's a huge part of what we do is coaching attorneys to get out of their shell and to open up and kind of get past that imposter syndrome that a lot of them. And it's not just attorneys who have that, but yeah, there's definitely a niche for attorneys doing acting classes for them. We encourage a lot of our clients, hey, you should take an improv class. You'd be amazed at how much better you're going to be in front of people. And it helps with podcast hosting too, because a big part of podcasting, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier with Guillaume, is improv, is being able to kind of shift. Because the conversation might go, you don't know where that conversation is going to go based on the answers someone might have to a question that may want to take you down a different road than what you had planned. And you got to be prepped and ready to do that. And improv training certainly helps with that too. So,
I'm actually glad that Mason was one. Sorry about that. That Mason was the one that actually asked that question because Mason, were you at the last Mastermind with us? Were you on last week?
No, I wasn't. I was at DMV.
Okay. Well, we did a shout out about you because of the consultation call that me and Armando had with you and how he coached you and was showing you like show emotion when you're recording. Do you remember?
I do remember, yeah.
And you flipped it like on the spot
Yeah.
and you were a freaking rock star after that. I was like, holy shit, he just applied on the spot what it is that Armando told him to do. So it was, yes, chef's
So yeah,
kiss.
Shannon, there's an opportunity there. Whether you're working with us or whether you want to do something on your own, that's a business. Coaching attorneys, acting is a business. You could just stick it to just Chicago, or you could do it nationwide. And that's where a podcast could come into play. Where that could be the bye, Becky. Thank you for coming on today. We'll see you next week. Um, that's where having a podcast can come into play where you kind of figure out what that show might be called. You have attorneys come on the show, and the show could be where you're basically giving them an acting session. You're coaching them through, like giving them some exercises and forcing them to do it on camera on a podcast with you. Talk about getting people out of their shell, and I love putting people on the hot seat. I'm all about it. So that's a great opportunity for you to maybe think about that. I'm telling you, hey, Shannon, go start a business. But it's something you could absolutely do, and a podcast would really help you pull that out. Because attorneys love being on podcasts. I don't know if you know that or not, but when we invite attorneys to a podcast, they're like, when and where. So it works great, guys. Thank you all for coming on today. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys come back next week. Armando will be back. He'll probably talk even more than I have in the last hour, but do come back and we'll cover some more stuff next week. Kind of see where everybody is and how they're doing. Guillaume, throw your email in the chat real quick before we bounce off. There we go. Great. Because like I said, I've got some people to connect you with. Let me just pop that over here.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
just real quick, Shannon, I will be in contact after, okay? Just to let you know.
And Mason, Armando may have already connected with some people, so I'm gonna send you some names. And if Armando's already given them to you, that's cool. But
Yeah.
there's some pods I wanna book you on.
Yeah. He did connect me with some people. I just haven't had a chance to really follow up. I know. It's just like
follow up.
my business. It's like, last week I was all about trying to send demands
Shannon.
out and trying to get the cases settled. So I know. It's like,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's obviously takes precedence for sure. But yeah, man. Did he connect with Kevin Daisy? Did he connect you with Margarita?
Well, I already Margaret's been on my podcast already, so
What
that's
about
already taken
Kevin?
care of. He connected with Kevin. I need to set it up with him.
What about Zach Hoffman?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'll connect you with Zach. He's got a podcast too. He needs to be on your show. You need to be on his. Same with Kevin.
Okay.
Margarita has a podcast too. You need to be on Margarita's podcast.
Just gonna invite me, man.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Well, I'll connect you guys again.
I know.
We'll make it happen.
Okay.
So great call, guys.
Right, thank you.
And real quick, Will, before we're gone,
Yes,
totally, do you have a place that you could send me to get the ball rolling, to get the, that's the part I'm just not sure where to start.
Tell me what you mean by that. To get the ball rolling.
Just is it just a matter of recording on,
StreamYard.
computer and
go to StreamYard. StreamYard is where you want to go. I'll tell you what, Jeff. I really would advise that you you got to lock down what this nonprofit is, what it's called, and what your mission is. That would be my advice to you. First off, is if that's where the passion is, if that's really what you want to do, you got to lock that in. Once you have that, even if you don't incorporate it and you don't follow the paperwork yet, you just need to have a name and a mission. Bayana, you can, if you got a minute, Jeff, we'll hang out here, just me and you. You need a name and a mission, and then you can kind of, and once you have the name of your nonprofit, that might be the name of your podcast, for all we know. But you got to lock down that name and that mission, because when you're reaching out to people that you want to come on your on a podcast that you want to start, you got to give them information. Hey, Will, my name is Jeff. Is it Mamas?
Mamas, yeah.
I'm starting. I have started a nonprofit in the Wilmington area called This. Our mission is this. I have a podcast associated with the nonprofit called This. This is what the podcast is about. I think you'd be an ideal guest. My first episodes will be recording on this date. Please let me know if you're interested. But you got to have something. It has to exist. And that means, obviously means, eventually you gotta get a website. You gotta, all that stuff has to come into play. Otherwise it's just an idea.
Right.
So super important that you kind of establish what that is, and then everything will kind of follow after that. We've got a guy that we've been working with for a while who is a financial advisor. He does tax planning for people, but he wants to get into the NIL space. I don't know if you know what NIL is. College athletes that get paid now for their name, image, likeness. He wants to get in as an advisor in the NIL space, but he didn't have a business name. He didn't have any kind of, it was just something he wanted to do. And he wanted us to help him start a podcast, and we're helping him do that. Podcast has started, but the first conversation I had with him was like, hey man, what is this? Is this a business? What's it called? Because if there's not a business that's associated with it, then it's just, at that point, again, it's an idea. So, you gotta kind of solidify that and get that going. And then you can start with a show, and then you start inviting people, and then it becomes more and more of a thing. And all of that's going to build on each other. But, starting with a nonprofit name and the mission, then you can come up with a podcast name, set up social media channels, start posting on social media about what this is and what you're wanting to do. Then you bring in the community, you're tagging them on social media, you're having them on the podcast, and the network builds, and it's all just gonna stack. But it's got to start with StreamYard, Dennis. It's StreamYard, StreamYard, YARD. So that's what my advice to you would be, is really focus in on what is this called and what's the mission.
Right. Okay. I'll
Cool.
start there.
All right, buddy, come back next week and we'll dig into it some more.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, take care.
All right.